Hey, welcome back. Today on Grand Touring Concepts, we're going to give you the cure for cancer.
Rust. He is talking about rust.
Car cancer. Lots of it.
Okay, so here's the bad rust that's in the driver's side of Ivan. Unfortunately, it's pretty significant. It's a really big hole. It's rusted in pretty deep inside. And then back here again, another pretty big hole. It didn't look this bad till we took the rocker molding off, and then we found how bad it really is. We're gonna have to cut all the rocker panel out to get at the stuff inside, fix that, and then come out forward. So here we have the rocker panel to put in. We also have some other small bits, one to fit up in here. We're going to use pieces from this one here to repair this spot back in here. And we have another one to repair some small panels over on the other side, but it's not near as bad. I picked up from Pavel over at Lot of Power. Nice, quick, easy shipping. He had everything I needed in stock. Let's start removing the doors to get at the rockers to fix it proper. That's how you loosen all the hinge bolts on the bottom. With the doors off, we now have an unobstructed view of our work area all around the rocker. Now it's time to start cutting metal. Well, I guess we know how far we're going.
All right, Shawn, so tell us what you found once you arbored off a little bit of the paint.
I found that the rocker is a lot worse than I thought it was. Once I started ripping the paint and a little bit of the bubble off, it's actually rusted from the inside out, and everything is paper thin. Like, you can actually use your thumb and shove holes through this thing.
That's not good. So, what's the path forward? Can we fix it with the materials we have?
Yeah, we can. We're just going to now have to cut it off right level with the fender and replace the absolute entire rocker panel, which I did not want to do.
Well, I guess we'll strip it back and carry on.
With the rocker removed, we found some more cancer problems. The entire inner structure is rusted out all along the bottom. So we're gonna have to cut that out and build a new inner piece, weld that in before we can do the rocker. We got some more cutting to do.
It's been a few hours of grinding, cleaning, buffing away, getting rid of rust. And here's what we found. Up here at the front, we found a little bit of perforated metal, thin. Not too bad. We've got some patching material to get rid of. You'll notice we've opened up the seam and we've taken out all of the structural support metal and ground down all of the spot welds. Moving on to the back, there's a little dent right here where things got pushed up, and you can see there are some holes right here. And then over here where this overlap joint is, things aren't too bad. This is all salvageable material. So what we've done is we've got some of this 90-degree metal, and we're going to cut out the bad portions and put this in as a new rail to replace this spot welded section. That's where we'll tie our new rocker panel to. Also, for any other larger patches, we've got this piece of flat stock where we're going to cut out those pieces and put in square patches as appropriate. Then, once that's all done and clean, we'll seal everything up with a rust preventative or a rust converter material called POR15. That will keep any of this rust from getting worse and any new rust from occurring on our new materials. Seam patch has been welded in, and everything that we don't need to weld to has been coated in POR15, which is this product right here. This stuff dries super hard and seals out all rust. It's a fantastic thing to use anytime you have a vehicle apart and you have untreated surfaces. This is an outstanding thing to place on in place of galvanizing or other paint coatings. Update. It's been several more hours. There's been a lot of cutting out bad material, sealing up what needs to be sealed, and installing some new metal. So what we've done is we took a panel, we cut it into thirds, and replaced the old metal. You can see here, this perforated piece, that's what used to exist here. All this rust, all of that bad parts, gone. This has all been bent, tied together. It's excellent 14 gauge steel, which is much thicker than this stuff. That looks to be 18 gauge, maybe 16. So the next step will be to cut this bottom line off flush. That will give us our line for our spot welds for the outer shell that needs to go on for our rocker. So once that is tied off, we will then grind all these welds flat so we can weld yet another panel to it. But before we get there, we have to move further back and dress the wheel housing. So the inside of this has to be brought down and extended, and then we can put in our patch panel here. A little bit more work, a few more hours, but it's coming along really, really well.
Several hours have elapsed, and after a bunch of fabricating, supper, beer, then back to fabricating and some cutting, we've got the inner little patch panel here made, all welded in. We're waiting for it to cool down so we can grind the welds. Then we're going to take this little patch panel that we cut out of this big piece, set it up in place, give it a couple tacks, get it all sort of finished in. Once we get our rocker in, then we will do a finish weld, grind, and we should be able to lock the seam in without even having to use any body fill. We have our rocker panel here. To get this to fit, we're going to have to trim this edge right off at the seam so that we can butt it up against the fender, because I am not removing the fender to overlap it. Then we're going to cut it along this joint all the way along. And then on this end, we're going to come into here and we're going to trim it along here and down, put it in place, weld it up so that we can put our other panel over top. It'll line in and we'll have our two pieces. And then we should be good for paint. Our initial cut went really, really well. We only have to take a little bit off the edge and a little bit out over here. As you see, once you put it in place, it actually lines up and goes in remarkably well. Just gonna pull everything in a little bit, do a little bit of trimming, and weld it in. Looks like it's never really been off. What I have in my hand here is Dominion brand Zinc weld through coating. Any zinc weld through coating will work, it's good. It's a primer and coating cold galvanizing compound. We always use it for anything where we're going to be welding that we can't get to paint, because you can give it a coat, spray everything, it'll help keep the rust out, give it a barrier, but yet you can still put more metal over top and weld, so you're kind of sealing in between the pieces of metal where you wouldn't normally have paint. You don't have any bare steel. Just prevents a bunch of corrosion.
And the final joint is complete. The rocker is now tied back in the rear wheel arch.
We've now got paint on it. What we did is, once we had all the welding done, we ground down all the edges, cleaned everything up a bit, blended it as best we could without any Bondo or stuff. We don't have time to do that. This is a one-day project because I do daily drive it. After we ground everything down, we put seam sealer in on all the pertinent areas to fill it in so that nothing leaks. Seam sealed the backside. Then we masked it off at a easy to reference body line, and we just painted everything up right now with a satin black, just something to seal it so that it's got rust protection until we get the rest of the rust fixed and we can actually get the bodywork taken care of. This is a piece by piece go.
Well, the project is done. Well, not the entire project, just our rocker fix, which was quite a big thing. We expected just to reskin the exterior. We got in there, found a lot more rust, so we ended up having to rebuild a lot of structure, and that took a lot of time. As you can tell from the looks on our faces, we're tired. We've been at this since 9 a.m. It's well after midnight, lots of time invested. However, I think we did prove that if you set out to do something, it can be done.
Absolutely. It was a little bit of metal, a basic welder, basic tools. We used nothing special on this at all. Anyone can do this job if they invest the time and a bit of effort. And worst case is you botch it up a little bit. That's why there's professionals out there. They can always fix a mistake.
Yeah, so try it yourself. Don't be afraid to. It's way better than having it rust and get worse until the point where the car is no longer usable.
Yeah. Ugly good metal is much better than pretty bad metal.
So, as you can tell, we're tired. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Have fun.